What catches your eye when you look at this card? Well, it is my tip for making striking cards. Hi everyone, and welcome to sunnydaystamping.com. I'm Julie Baca. I'm so glad that you're here. Today I'm sharing one tip that will really make your cards stand out. It's simple, it's easy, but man, it makes such a big impact. I also have a lot of other card making tips to share with you in this video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. In the description of this video, I have a link to a blog post that goes right along with this video. Over there, you'll find more photos of the projects. I have the measurements right on there. And I also linked the supplies on there. This technique you're going to be able to use with all kinds of cards, but if you want your cards to look like mine, I use current Stampin' Up! Products so that you can make your cards look just like that if that's what you're looking for. So, all right, let's get started. Sometimes making a card where not everything is colored in is really eye-catching. So for this technique, you're going to want to pick a stamp set that has images that are kind of black and white outline type of stamp. So I'm going to be using the sketched butterflies. And one tip for stamping, if you've got a large stamp that doesn't really fit on your stamp pad, or it's just a big stamp and kind of unruly, take your stamp pad to the stamp and just pounce it up down on there. And then you're just looking to see if it's completely covered in ink, and then fill in any other spots before you stamp it down. Now we're just going to stamp this on a scrap piece of basic white. Now this is going to be our focal image. You're going to want to pick something big to go here. Now let's go ahead and make this panel. Actually, let's hold off on this because I've got a tip to share with you to make this easier. What we're going to do is do the inside of our card. Now for the inside of the card, I'm just going to choose one of these smaller butterflies and just put it right there in the center. And then choose one of these greetings that go along with it. I'm going to choose the one that says, "You brighten up so many of my days." Now, one tip for this, especially with greetings that are long, sometimes if you don't really pay attention to how you're putting it on your block and it's kind of slanted, it's going to go on your card wrong. And especially when they're the cling stamps that you can't see through. So here's my tip. Take your stamp and line it up on your grid paper, and then line up your block on top of it so that your block is in line with the stamp. And I can see that I kind of did that a little not straight, so I'm going to try this again. Put it on here and then line up my block on there. Good. Now, before I go stamping this on my card, I'm going to go ahead and test myself. So I'm going to try to line it up on this line here and see how I do. And if when I stamped that, I actually stamped it a little down farther. So now I can kind of adjust what I'm doing so that it's getting in the right spot. Nope, still not right. The cling stamps are a little harder to line up. That is not right. Whoa, I am so glad I'm using this on scrap paper. What is wrong? I think I gotta get my head over the thing here. Okay, so nope, I'm getting worse. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, give me a few more chances. Oh wow, that one was almost right. And not right at all. Okay. There! Okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to put it right here on the inside of my card. Perfect! So we're actually going to color in this one and the one on the inside of the card. So let's do that now. I'm going to be using Stampin' Up's Stampin' Blends markers. These come in packs of 2, one light and one dark of each color. They're alcohol markers, which means they're going to dry quickly, but they're also going to be smooth and creamy and beautiful, and they blend together the 2 tones of the same color. So there are all different ways to do this, but I like to start with my light color and color in, and then I go back with my dark color and highlight just areas that I want to highlight. And usually I just copy exactly what the artist has done in the stamp set because they know what they're doing. And so I just colored over those darker edges with the darker marker. Now these markers are alcohol, so they will dry out faster than regular markers if you don't snap the lids on. So make sure you hear that little snap. Now you can also see that there is a brush tip and a bullet tip. This one is softer, more like a paintbrush, and this one is harder like a regular marker, so you can get exactly what you want to color. So for larger areas, I like the brush tip. It just kind of goes so quickly, and just rub it all around, and you don't have to be exact. It kind of runs just the littlest bit. So you just kind of go over your area. So I do the light, make sure it snaps on, and then I go back with the dark. For this, I'm going to use the bullet tip because I want to be a little more precise where I'm going, and I'm just going along the edges here with the darker. And you can't really tell right away the depth of the color. You kind of need to let it dry and develop to get the full depth of color. So now I'm going to take my light lemon lolly, and I'm just going to create a yellow area right here. You can also follow what the artist has done, but I kind of just want to do my own thing right now. Oh, I should have been coloring in this one at the same time. Let me just put a little something something here. Now I'm going to go back with my dark lemon and kind of just rub this in. I'm going along the edges. I'm just going to go back and do my little small butterfly here, or moth, whatever these are. Can you tell? I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. And so right where those artist lines are, where it's darker, that is where I am gonna put my dark color. So you don't really need to like invent anything. Just do what the image is telling you to do. Now I'm gonna take my light berry burst. Look how gorgeous this is. And I'm gonna fill in this area here. I'm not one who likes to take the time to color so much, so that's why I developed this card. I'm like, I want the look of the coloring, but I don't want to have to color in all the butterflies. And man, I think it turned out so awesome. But this is actually, these markers make coloring, to me, just very enjoyable. They just spread beautifully. And then to be able to get the two tones of the same color, to just get that rich, gorgeous dimension, it just makes it kind of worth the time. Now take the dark, and I'm going to run the dark along that. Wait, let me not do that. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to tell you. When these markers are going to bleed through, that is normal. So you just want to be aware of not putting it on a layer that you're going to be able to see through it. But I was about to color this on top of here. No, that would have left a mark. So I'm just going to put my dark along the top there, and then I am going to put it, actually I'm going to do it along the green edge here just a little bit, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just go up, and you can see I'm just not being that careful, but it is going to blend in once that dries and look amazing. So now I'm going to put the dark kind of under this base lower wing, because I think that would probably be a little bit darker, and put a little along the edge here. So the only other coloring I'm going to do is actually on the envelope. So take your envelope and pull your scrap paper underneath here. And now they have these cute little tiny butterflies. So I am just going to ink those up, and I'm going to put them on the envelope. Just a couple, maybe here and here. Oh, that's going to look beautiful. And now I'm just going to color these in real quickly. So there, that only took a minute, but check this out when you pull this out of here. Isn't that gorgeous? It's gonna look fantastic with the card. So there, that's all the coloring. It just took us a couple minutes. Looks gorgeous. So we'll set these pieces aside, and what you're gonna do now is cut this out. So I'm actually gonna use the die for this because I do not enjoy fussy cutting, but if you don't have the dies, or then you can just take your scissors and trim all around your focal point. So I'm going to use my cut and emboss machine to cut this out. This die will fit in the mini machine. I just prefer this big machine. So now what you're going to do is take your die and line it up on your stamped image. You can put a piece of tape there if you need to, but I don't normally use that because what I do is put this top plate on, and then I just press, and it keeps it in place. Roll this through, and it cuts it out so quickly. Plus, I just don't think I'm really great at cutting, so there you go. Okay, so here's the main big tip I wanted to share with you in this video is to make a really interesting card. You want to create something unexpected, and to this, I used contrast to do it. So I used a very muted background and then this pop of bold image right on the front, and it just like draws your eye right to that and makes it just so, it's kind of unexpected because you expect these to be colored in, and when they're not, it just looks so cool. So what we're gonna do is just stamp in black and white on this little piece of paper. And the reason why we cut this out first is because we're going to use it. We're not going to glue it on here, but we're just going to visualize where we want that, because that is going to help us know where to put our greeting. You can see that the greeting is just kind of like part of the background, which is also kind of unexpected. You usually expect that to be popped up or somehow highlighted. So I'm going to make this a birthday card. So I'm doing wishing you a beautiful birthday, and I am going to test it on my scrap paper first to make sure. Golly, you guys, am I tilted today? What is happening? Oh, there, that's pretty good. Okay, so then I'm going to put this right here. And then once I have my greeting kind of as my base, now I can remove this and we'll stamp some of these smaller butterflies around. There are so many butterflies to choose in this stamp set. I just love this thing. I know you guys have seen me use that so many times. So now I'm just gonna stamp on here, and I wanna make sure that I'm stamping off the paper. I just think that makes it look so much more interesting just to get kind of a partial image. And we'll put this little folded up butterfly here. And now let's take these little ones again and we'll put them, oh, it's already so hard to know. We'll do like this. Oh yeah, that's cool. And then maybe just one over here. Yes. Now we can test it and put our focal point back in there to see if you want to add any more, but really kind of less is more. I might have put too many there, but I think this will look good. Okay, so now to keep with the muted tones, we are just going to line this with a little bit of basic black. Doesn't that look just so awesome? And we're going to do the same thing for the inside of the card. So let's glue these on. So one thing I like to do, because I am such a messy stamper, I usually have ink on my hands. So if I were to like wipe this over, I might get ink on it, and you can see that it's not fully glued down. So I turn it over, and then I take my bone folder and just squish it on there. It really squishes out the glue into a nice thin line and then secures that paper to the layer. Now for all the measurements for all these pieces, they are on my website, sunnydaystamping.com. It's linked in the description of this video. If you like the printable project sheet, I email these out to my email subscribers on the day after the video comes out, and it's available for a week in my welcome email. If you aren't on my email list, you can sign up and receive this in the welcome email. After that, all my project sheets go to my tutorial store, and you can purchase them from there. So for the cards I made, I did choose to use a bold background, mainly because I absolutely love this berry burst color, but I did want to show you how this would look on just a really muted background. And this looks pretty awesome too. Like that really stands out. So either way, this is a basic beige, but I am going to use the berry burst. So, and one tip, when you have a card color that is darker, if you were to rub your bone folder on it, you'll end up seeing like a shine. It'll leave a shiny mark. So what I do is fold my card base, and I don't trust the scoring. I make sure to line up the corners of the card base, and then I put my scrap paper on there, and then you can rub as hard as you want along that score line, and it is not going to mess up your paper at all. So there's our card base, and we're going to glue this on the inside. And then we should have done this before. Go ahead and throw one butterfly on the back of your card. I think that just adds such a beautiful touch and takes like a second and a half to put that on there. Now glue this muted background that is just going to set the stage for the focal point to really be the star of this striking card. Now the same thing, I'm going to open up my card. I'm going to use my bone folder to secure that in place so I don't swipe ink all over the place. So now take your focal point and you can glue it right on there, but to give it that extra oomph, use Stampin' Dimensionals. These are like 1/8 of an inch thick of foam adhesive. It's like a double-sided tape, but it's thick. So it's gonna create a shadow and really make your focal point stand out. This is the take your pick tool. You can definitely do this with your fingers, but man, I've gotten the hang of using this and I love it. Okay, so then we're just going to put this right here. Make sure it's not like inside the bounds of this small layer. You want to make sure it is down here to see how much more interesting that looks, to have it kind of flying onto the paper. You can leave it like this, but I am going to add some self-adhesive gems. So I'm going to use the spatula end of this take your pick tool to add those. These are like my new favorite embellishment. Like I bought all kinds of them, but I only use these. So they go with everything. So I think they're beautiful. I'm going to put, oh my goodness, we're going to put one down here. I always use 3. I don't know if that's like the right way to do it, but it looks good to my eye. We'll just put it right here. Whoop. So here is our whole set. Isn't that just stunning? Now let me show you in some different colors. So this one, I used the Granny Apple Green, which is just matching the markers that we chose. And then this is Pretty Peacock, but all the rest of the colors are the same. Aren't those gorgeous? Now to just give you a different idea, if you don't want to color in, you could always cut your image out of designer series paper. So keeping everything else muted and then just pop a color of designer series paper. This is made with the cutest onesies. Isn't that adorable? I love this Stampin' Die set. The die set has this little hanger that fits on that onesie and this little cutout. Like, oh, so cute. And it has this little heart stamp, which you could use on like a million different things. I put out a new card making video every Thursday and I pack those things full of tips, just helpful tips to make card making even easier. On the first Thursday of every month, I put out a new card making template class. This is where we make templates together, and these are a tool that you can use for card making with the supplies you already have. So those come out on the first Thursday of every month. I hope to see you on Thursdays. You can also follow me on like all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever is your go-to. You can follow me on there for just more card making tips, card making ideas throughout the week. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. See you later. Have a sunny day.